There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is only the Force. The Jedi Code speaks to us about the principles that all Jedi should abide by, that all warriors that follow the light side should internalize and aspire to hold true to themselves. This code, it comes in many forms, and there are a dozen iterations, but this core code, based on the meditations of Odan and adopted throughout the galaxy, is the one that is most common. We struggle with understanding each line of this code, but there are many misinterpretations from outside forces that see this code as calling for Jedi to be robots, to be detached and uncaring within themselves in the galaxy. This code could not be further from the truth. Detachment is a part of a Jedi's life, yes, but not at the expense of lacking compassion and care. As a matter of fact, compassion and care make up a huge part of the Jedi's entire purpose. Compassion for the life of the galaxy, for innocent beings and for all living things. The care to ensure that injustices are brought to justice, that harm is mitigated as much as possible wherever it rears its ugly head. The Jedi through this code can have compassion and care, but it will not lead to the dark side so long as they adhere to its principles. So let's break it down. There is no emotion, there is peace. This is the most commonly misunderstood line within the code. There is no emotion. Emotion is not present in us when we make decisions, when we must choose who to save and when. How many lives we save, we can't allow our emotions to control us and determine what we do and when. Adhering to emotions over sense, over objective viewings, it costs lives and it leads to the dark side. To let emotions cloud judgment, it leads to our suffering within and without, to suffering of other beings, to suffering within ourselves, believing that maybe we made the wrong decision. There is no emotion, there is peace, peace within ourselves, understanding that one must let go of emotions to find peace. It is not that we can't have them, that we can't have these emotions. It's that we understand that we must let them go to find peace. When emotion leaves us, we find peace within ourselves. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. A Jedi must always understand that they do not know everything, that they know what they know and they know what they don't. There's no ignorance, there's only the pursuit of knowledge. When we understand what we don't know, we look for answers, we look for the knowledge to bring our ignorance back into a place where we no longer have it, because we understand what we don't know. Ignorance in and of itself is non-existent. Knowledge is all there is. What we have of it, what we don't have of it, and what we will have in terms of knowledge either for ourselves, or knowledge in the Force, or knowledge of the galaxy. As long as we know what we know and know what we don't have ignorance. We only have knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. Another line that's often misinterpreted as detachment. Passions exist at our most basic animal levels. Passions for other beings, passion for plants, for animals. We love, we hate, we adore, and all these other emotions, all these other passions that will flow through us at all times. This line doesn't call for the dissolution of them, but for the serenity we find within ourselves when we balance them. We can love, we can hate, we can adore, but we have to understand that that comes at a balance of other emotions. While we hate, while we adore, these are passions within us that will drive us to do things, but we must balance them against the opposing emotions. Where there's hate, there has to be love. Where there's suffering, there has to be joy. Finding the balance within ourselves of these emotions is what will allow us to feel serene when we feel otherwise. When our passions wish to take control of us, to balance a hate against a love, to balance fear against hope. That is where we find serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. Chaos exists purely within our own minds. Chaos exists because our minds and the minds of all beings within the galaxy wish to find patterns within that galaxy. And when we can't find those patterns, we believe that then everything is within chaos. But chaos is simply our lack of understanding of the will of the Force. The Force works in incredibly mysterious ways, but all things act in accordance to the plan and the will of the Force. There is harmony within the galaxy. There is harmony within all things. Just because we do not see it does not mean that it is not there. To understand that chaos does not exist, even if all trillions of the beings in the galaxy are moving opposed to one another, it may seem chaotic, but it's not chaos. It's harmony within the Force. There is no death. There is the Force. Death is a part of life. To refuse death is to refuse life itself. The Force is in all living things, a weed, a tree, an animal, and indeed all beings within the galaxy. It's what gives us life. It flows through all of us, all life in the galaxy. Everything that you see that is alive, the Force has touched. And death isn't the end. It's not the beginning. It's simply a stop on the journey that the Force is a part of. All things die. But to die, we must have lived, and to live, we must have felt the shape of the Force around us. There is no death. There is only returning back to the Force that gave us life. The Jedi Code is many things. It's a guide, it's a tool, it's a mantra to help keep us calm, to help keep us centered. But above all else, it is an ideal to strive towards. It can be and has been misinterpreted many times throughout the thousands of years of galactic history we find ourselves in, but the core of it, to truly understand it, we must look deep within and understand that it is not detachment. It is not the refusal to feel things or to feel compassion or to be involved with the galaxy, but it is that when we do get involved, when we have these emotions, we understand that we must let them go. Jedi feel things. They feel fear, they feel hatred, they feel anger, but they also understand that they must let them go. To find peace within themselves, they must let go of their emotions. To find serenity, they must balance the emotions that are left behind and let go of the things that will hold them back and start to turn them to the dark side. The hardest lesson to learn is that this is not something that Jedi do once and it's done. It is repeated and repeated and repeated. The Force guides us all.